HS here doesn't designate a super fast rail route, but MG's largest SUV, which is offered in both conventionally engined and PHEV plug-in forms, and here features now smarter exterior styling. As before, it's one of the most spacious mid-sized SUVs you could choose, yet it retails for thousands less than you'd pay for comparably shaped rivals. The usual MG formula, in other words, backed up by the normal lengthy brand warranty.
MG is one of the market's fastest growing brands, with many of its sales currently being of its compact ZS SUV. This HS model was launched here in 2019 to slot in above that car, enabling the brand to hold on to family buyers who might have outgrown its smaller models, and to target new customers who previously would never have considered MG in this segment. These people are going to want a higher standard of luxury and sophistication than anything the brand has previously offered, and the HS range sets out to provide just that, especially in this lightly revised, sleeker looking form. Not much is different beneath the bonnet, so as before, the mainstream engine is a 160 horsepower 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol unit that only drives through the front wheels, and that's what we have here. This wasn't a very sophisticated engine back when this car was first launched here in 2019, and nothing's been done to it since. Certainly nothing in the way of the kind of electrification you'll find in most other segment rivals. Still, it's a reasonably willing thing with 250 newton meters of torque, capable of 0 to 62 miles an hour in 9.9 seconds, reaching a top speed of 118 miles an hour. Customers have the choice of either a 6-speed manual or 7-speed DCT auto gearbox, which on top versions can also be manually controlled using the steering wheel mounted paddles. DCT versions also feature a series of drive modes including Eco, Normal, Sport and a driver customizable option. With this top trophy spec, a steering wheel mounted Super Sport button allows the driver to quickly engage Sport mode, and it also illuminates the interior's red ambient lighting. The alternative power plant is a PHEV version of this same engine mated to a 6-speed automatic gearbox. In this plug-in model, this unit works with a 120 horsepower electric motor hitched to a 4-speed drive unit and powered by a 16.6 kilowatt-hour battery pack. The combined power output is 255 brake horsepower and 370 newton meters of torque, which at times, in the wet especially, feels rather too much for the front wheels to cope with. When the battery pack's fully charged, a WLTP rated pure electric range of 32 miles is apparently possible, which in urban conditions, MG says, can be stretched as far as 44 miles. Here we're focusing on the ordinary 1.5 litre version, but whatever your choice of HS drivetrain, to be frank, there aren't many driving thrills on offer. Still, you probably won't be expecting or requiring the ride and handling of this Chinese SUV to be cutting edge, and we think that typical family buyers will probably be quite satisfied. True body control through the turns isn't as well sorted as it is in, say, a Qashqai or an Attica, but the steering's quite well weighted and the car turns in accurately. With this conventionally engined model, you're probably better off opting for the 7-speed dual-clutch auto transmission. Even though it reacts quite sluggishly to throttle inputs, the alternative 6-speed manual stick shift has a rather vague and sloppy gear change quality. What else? Well, the brakes feel strong and positive, refinement at cruising speeds is reasonable, and MG's decision to opt for a relatively softly sprung suspension setup means that poorer surfaces are ridden over with decent suppleness. It's not a very sophisticated damping setup though, something revealed in the way that you do crash over potholes and speed humps. Around town, the HS is a surprisingly easy thing to park, given that it's over 4.5 metres long and 2 metres wide, helped by a standard, though rather low resolution, reversing camera, which above base trim is upgraded to the 360-degree surround view setup that we've been trying here. You might worry about a petrol engine's relative lack of torque being insufficient for towing duties. This Mghs unit develops 250 newton meters of pulling power, enough to allow it to tug along a braked trailer of up to 1,750 kilos in weight, which should be enough for owners to haul medium-sized trailers, caravans or boats. But because this is a front-driven only model, you shouldn't expect to be able to engage in any serious off-road shenanigans. The relatively restricted ground clearance doesn't allow for that anyway. Hill launch assist and hill descent control come included though. Brake towing capacity at 1,750 kilos for this conventional engine model falls to 1,500 kilos with the PHEV. Some mid-term facelifts don't appreciably change the visual signature of the model concerned very much. This isn't one of those. On the contrary, this revised HS looks quite a bit sleeker than before, courtesy of revised bifunction LED headlights, a bolder grille design and a restyled front bumper. As before, the overall styling's pretty straightforward, taking the family look lately established with the compact ZS and applying it to a wider, squarer shape. You expect plenty of metal for your money from an MG, and as before, you'll not be disappointed here. Don't be put off by the fact that an HS isn't much cheaper than, say, a Nissan Qashqai. It's quite a lot bigger than one of those, 4,610mm long, 1,685 high and 1,876 wide. Size-wise, that places it somewhere between a Skoda Karoq and a Ford Kuga, which means it isn't big enough to be able to offer a third seating row. Silver roof rails supply the required SUV vibe, and smarter 18-inch diamond-cut alloy wheels now fill the chunky arches. At the rear, a new bumper design, revised dual exhaust outlets and LED taillights complete the styling update. Lots of car for your money then. So, will the same be true inside? Pretty much, yes. As before, everything falls easily to hand and the digital instrument cluster's clear, though it still can't display route instructions. There are certainly more high-quality soft-touch materials than you'd expect for the money being asked. The dashboard feels of reasonably high quality, doesn't have too much button clutter, and features welcome little touches like piano black finishing and satin chrome trim, as well as knurled effect piano key switchgear and turbine-style air vents. You're seated pretty comfortably. Lumbar support is standard, as is black leather-style upholstery, and if you avoid base trim, you somewhat unexpectedly get these rather dynamic-looking, power-adjustable, bucket-style sports seats, though they are set rather high and don't do much for the over-your-shoulder vision. Customisable ambient lighting features on this top model. As for cabin changes with this revised model, well, there really aren't any, though the brand claims that this 10.1-inch centre dash infotainment screen has been upgraded with enhanced hardware, allowing faster and smoother functionality. It continues to be compatible with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring, includes navigation and a rear-view camera, and gives you a DAB audio system with either 4 or 6 speakers, depending on the trim level you've chosen. As before, this central monitor is rather on the low resolution side, and it's a pity that it has to incorporate all the climate functions. Aside from screen stuff, our only other cabin gripe is that the indicator stalks feel a bit plasticky, and that's about it on the debit side. As before, interior space is class leading and there's plenty of room to stash things. There's a reasonably sized glove box and the big door bins can take 1 litre bottles. The centre console is a little strangely laid out. You store your phone in a slot on the tunnel rather than on a shelf below the centre screen, but you'll adjust to that quickly enough. A couple of USB ports feature as well. Okay, let's take a look in the rear. Where there's vastly more space than you'd get in a 𝗙cie or an 𝗙cie𝗶𝘁𝘁. In this class, only Škoda's 𝗙aroc offers more. Unfortunately, unlike that car, it's not possible to move this rear bench. It's just about possible to fit 3 adults here, but the centre occupants certainly wouldn't be very comfortable. Headroom across the back is good though. As you'd expect, ISOFIX fittings are provided for child seats. There are reasonably sized bins in the sweepingly lined door cards, and this centre sliding armrest has twin cup holders. Rear passengers also get 2 central air vents. A couple of USB ports feature as well. We'll finish with a look at the boot. Now, bear in mind that this power-operated tailgate comes only with this top trophy trim level, and then only if you specify auto transmission. Still, the hatch isn't too heavy to lift, and when raised in this conventionally engined model, it reveals a decently sized 463-litre boot. That capacity measured up to the window line. With the plug-in version, that figure falls, but not too far, to 448 litres. The boot floor's pretty high off the ground, which isn't helpful when you're trying to get really heavy items in, nor is the fact that MG doesn't offer a variable height boot floor. The space beneath the cargo base is occupied by a puncture repair kit in this conventionally engined model, while the plug-in version offers an underfloor bin to take the charging cables. Fold the 60/40 split rear bench with this conventional model and capacity rises to 1,454 litres. It's 1,375 litres with the PHEV. Pricing for this mid-sized family SUV is pitched in the £23,500 to £26,000 bracket for this conventionally engined model. Automatic transmission requires a £1,500 premium over the manual, and pricing starts from around £31,000 for the plug-in hybrid version. Either way, that's good value, even if your point of comparison is merely a volume family hatch-based model like a Nissan Qashqai or a Seat Ateca. But the HS is sized and priced to compete more with slightly bigger, more complete mid-sized SUVs, Volkswagen's Tiguan, Mazda's CX-5, Ford's Kuga and Honda's CR-V. Opt for this MG and you're looking at a like-for-like saving of up to £6,000 over something like one of those. On this mainstream model, just one single 1.5-litre petrol engine is offered, but there's a DCT automatic option and 2 levels of trim, SE, or as in this case, Trophy. Even base SE spec gives you bifunction LED headlights with front and rear sequential indicators for the first time, silver roof rails and 18-inch diamond-cut alloy wheels, along with a rear-view camera with rear parking sensors, rain-sensing wipers, keyless entry and an alarm. Choose auto transmission and the standard cruise control is upgraded to adaptive cruise control. Inside, even with base trim, there's leather effect stitched upholstery, air conditioning, an auto-dimming rear view mirror and a leather-covered steering wheel. Media connectivity is taken care of by a 10.1-inch centre screen, complete with navigation, Bluetooth, a 4-speaker DAB audio system and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring. This 𝗙cie Trophy specification also includes rear privacy glass. And inside with Trophy spec, there's leather upholstery, heated and powered front sports seats, dual zone climate control, ambient interior lighting, and an upgraded 6-speaker audio system. With auto transmission, you also get metal pedals and a powered tailgate as well. On to options. Now, with this top spec, there's also the £500 option of red and black leather style upholstery, which comes with a black headliner. Across the range, there are 7 paint colour choices, including solid, metallic and tri-coat options. Fiat has stopped making grey cars, but MG doesn't seem to have a problem with this shade, adding urban grey to the colour options for the first time. On to safety. Now, 𝗙cie𝗶𝗁𝘁𝗀, the company's comprehensive package of safety equipment, is available across the range as standard, equipping the HS with active emergency braking, with pedestrian and bicycle detection, lane keep assist with lane departure warning system, intelligent speed limit assist, blind spot detection, rear cross traffic alert, and intelligent high beam assist. With auto transmission, you also get traffic jam assist, which essentially drives the car for you in low-speed traffic queues. All the conventional safety stuff's included as well, so there are twin front, side and curtain airbags, plus cornering brake control, tyre pressure monitoring and all the usual electronic assistance for braking, traction and stability control. As a result of all of this, in Euro NCAP safety testing, the HS received a 92% score for adult passenger protection, 81% for child passenger protection, and 76% in the safety assistance category. We didn't expect the HS to deliver class-leading efficiency stats, and in its conventional form, it doesn't. It gets pretty close to the class standard though. The 1.5 litre petrol manual model manages a combined WLTP cycle figure of 37.9 mpg and a WLTP rated CO2 emissions figure of 168 grams per kilometre of CO2. For the DCT Auto, the figures are 36.6 mpg and 174 grams per kilometre. All of this means that this car could return up to around 400 miles from every tank, though you'll need to restrain your right foot a bit to get close to that figure. MG reckons the HS PHEV variant will deliver a combined cycle fuel economy reading of 155.8 mpg and 43 grams per kilometre of CO2. We briefed you in our driving section on the all-electric range, WLTP rated at 32 miles or 44 miles in urban conditions. That's of course when the battery is fully charged, a process that will take 4.5 hours when the car's plugged into a 7.4 kilowatt wall box charger, the type of thing that you'll need to get installed in your garage at home. What about other running cost issues? Well, all versions of this MG come with an impressive 7-year, 80,000 mile warranty as standard, which is better than most rival brands can offer. You might be aware that rival Kia offers a 7-year, 100,000 mile package, but MG still reckons its deal is preferable because it's backed by full factory support throughout, whereas direct manufacturer support for rival warranties declines the longer they go on. In many cases, they don't go on too long. Many competitors still limit you to a 3-year backup package. A few offer 5 years, but MG does better. This is the brand putting its money where its mouth is. The warranty is fully transferable to future owners, and additionally there's a 6-year factory warranty against rust, while a year's breakdown cover is also part of the deal. The MG dealer network is growing all the time. The brand expects to shortly have 120 outlets in the UK. And at those outlets, a full digital service record of checks and maintenance provides the customer with complete transparency and full access to the service history of their vehicle. Service intervals are every year or 15,000 miles, whichever comes first. You'll be offered a range of MG servicing plans to spread the cost of maintenance for up to 7 years. Insurance groupings have risen and are now a little higher than those of mainstream rivals. For this conventionally engined model, the ratings vary between Group 21 and 22. For the PHEV, it's Group 27 or 28. If you've previously looked at the kind of spacious mid to large sized SUV your family needs, then looked away when you've seen the asking prices, then this MG HS is for you. It's certainly the case that the cabin finishing isn't quite at the standard you'd find with more established brands, and the same is true of the efficiency figures and indeed the handling. But there's not as much in it as you might think, and the potential list price savings here are substantial. If that matters, then we think you'll find plenty to like about this HS. It's practical, well equipped, and even quite nice to look at. You'll just have to get used to explaining to your neighbours what it is.